The difference was like $10. Because that's the whole point. Without the subsidies, which you're able to see, but because of that, people don't see it. They say things like Cobra's expensive. I mean, most people, that's why they say Cobra's so expensive, but they don't realize that that's the actual health plan that's being subsidized by them.
Right.
And they surely don't get the pharmacy stuff. So the Cobra still covers your pharmacy plan and stuff, right? So, but they don't realize just how expensive that ends up being for anybody.
Yeah, and Cobra is a standard 102% of what the total cost of health insurance. So, like, if you lose your job and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, my insurance is so expensive because I'm on Cobra. That's not the truth. The truth is that that's how much it was all the time, and your employer is entitled to the extra 2% for handling administration.
Next to nothing for my health plan. Then I started my own company in July, so I was on Cobra for 6 months. And the cost of Cobra was exactly the cost, pretty much, for the plan that I ended up picking in January. The difference was like $10. Because that's the whole point. Without the subsidies, which you're able to see, but because of that, people don't see it. They say things like Cobra's expensive. They say things like pharmacy drugs are crazy. Oh, that Pfizer's trying to screw me over.
Okay, you ready for this one? I've got a great one. So
because until they're angry, nothing's going to happen.
So I went to this is how bad it is. This is how bad that people don't understand where this money's coming from and they're hurting themselves. So I'm at a enrollment meeting. I'm the broker for a big company, and I'm helping them with decisions for the employees as to whether or not they should take this one or that plan, right? And the person sitting next to me worked for a big insurance company, and she was handling enrollment for health insurance for this big insurance company here in town. And of course I asked about pharmacy. Right. I asked them who they use, and they said that they used Prime Therapeutics, which is a big PBM owned by the Blue Cross Blue Shield plans. We talked about these GLP-1s, Ozempic specifically, and she goes, yeah. She goes, I only pay $60 for it. As I got it. I'm using, I'm not even using it. She's like getting it. It's being sent to her, mail order. She's got 3 of these in her refrigerator, so she's not even using it. They're sending it to her. Remember, she's a licensed life insurance or health insurance person, so you'd think that she would know how this works. But she says that they say that I could be responsible for $60, but I haven't had to pay anything. Do you know who's paying something?
Company?
The company, your employers, your coworkers are paying and subsidizing. You're not using Ozempic at $1,600 or whatever it is. Someone is paying that money.
That is so crazy. And
that's coming out of the plan.
So let me ask you 2 questions, and this is where it gets much harder, right? So one is why, so you've come up with the idea of using a 321, or is there any law that has to be changed to make you a 321 to make that?
Well, I don't see, that's the thing, is I'm going to have to figure that out, right? So we're going to have to come up with, does this cross over? Are these equivalent options? Are these the same or different? If they're different, we're going to have to get a legal opinion to figure it out, to figure out whether or not it's more likely than not the same.
Okay. And then the other question would be, what's to stop a company from just signing on? Shouldn't be that hard to find a fiduciary, right? Why can't they just go and say, we're done?
Yeah. I challenge any payer to do that. I want to see.
When they robbed Los Alamos.
Ask everybody, like anybody, ask your employee benefit advisor to put in writing that they will be the fiduciary on your PBM plan. Anybody, any one of them.
They won't do it? I mean, that's the thing. If this is big enough of a deal.
I'll do it.
So Los Alamos was robbed in the late 90s, all through the 90s. They had an internet connection running, a dial-up modem that was sending nuclear secrets across the ocean. They had not been doing background checks. So one of my friends was one of the security people that were involved, and says normally it takes about 6 weeks to do a check. We had everybody on that place done in less than 2 weeks. Classic case of closing the doors after the horse. By the way, no one else has ever heard of this. This didn't go into congressional things. By the way, they just had it happen again. They just had another background issue with Los Alamos in the last, I think, year or two. It's because it's not that important. Is this going to be one of those things? How do you make sure that it's not something swept under the rug or just a quick rule change that says you can't follow up? How do we know that this is something that's not easily fixed?
Well, the
and
first
now
thing
everybody needs a co-beneficiary.
Hey, thanks for watching The Merge. We've got a ton more stuff for you to watch on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere. Check us out.